Are there any scientific differences between straight and gay people?
Well,
does that question make sense, kind of?
Yeah, no, it's a fundamental question, and so, well, let's approach it a couple of different ways. So, one way you could say, well, how much of the trait of who you're interested in sexually is heritable? Do you inherit it from your parents?
Okay, so heritable means you can inherit it from your parents?
That's right.
And you can pass it down?
Yeah,
okay.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. So, eye color, for example, is something we well understand that we inherit from our parents.
Got it.
Your mom's got this, your dad's got this. But most traits are not so defined that way. They're only partially heritable. They're only partially determined by the genes you get from your mom and your dad. So sexual orientation, turns out it's actually different for men and women. The best estimates for genetic studies are that sexual orientation in men is about 40% heritable, and in women it's about 20% heritable.
So that means you could pass down gay from an adult to a child?
You could pass down gay or straight or bi or whatever you happen to be.
Really?
From a parent to a child. But keep in mind, what these numbers are. Like 40%, that's only 40%. That's not the whole story. That's still leaving 60% that you're not getting from the genes you inherit from your parents. But that still doesn't mean that 60%, part of that isn't biological. It's just not heritable. So, for example, we know that women who, for various different reasons, were exposed to testosterone in the womb or as they were young, because the adrenal glands secrete testosterone. There is a disease called congenital adrenal hyperplasia, which just means the adrenal glands get big and they secrete a lot of testosterone. So women who have that can be slightly masculinized in their appearance sometimes, and they're way more likely to be into other women sexually. Right?
Which makes sense because you have more testosterone.
That's right. So that's not something you're going to pass down to your kids.
Got it.
But it's a biological way in which your sexual orientation can be affected.
I see. So that's an example of a biological way.
That's a biological. Biological is the whole thing. Biological means the hereditary stuff, the heritable stuff, and the non-heritable stuff that's also biological.
Got it.
And then, so you might say, well, what about how your parents raised you? Here's something that, to me, is shocking, right? There was this major study done by the American Psychological Association to say if you are raised by gay parents or straight parents or a single mom or two parents or you're religious or non-religious or you're politically this way or that way, does it make a difference on how likely you are to be straight versus gay? The answer doesn't make any damn difference at all. It's unimportant. Now, it make a difference in terms of how willing you are to express it. Like if you grow up in a super religious family or any religious family where being gay is looked down on, you might not want to admit it. You might not come out. But it doesn't mean you don't feel it in yourself.
But so you're saying if a couple's driving a Subaru, they're not more likely to have a child that could be gay than somebody else?
No, they're more likely to have, if they do have a kid that's gay, they're more likely to have a kid that's comfortable with being gay as opposed to repressed about it and feeling like they can't express that.
I feel like
But there is, and this is, kind of surprising, right? You would, because people say, oh, parents are so important. Parents are important, but they're not important in everything. And whether you're gay or straight, parents don't have a damn thing to do with it.
Now, what if somebody's almost gay, right? They think about being gay sometimes, but they're not being gay. Are they, I just wonder, is there a level of that kind of like almost gay where then the kid is gay? You know what I'm saying?
Well, so when you say the kid is gay, though, what do you mean? You mean
Just the kid is.
Well, to me, what I'm talking about is what do you feel in your heart about your own self?
Right.
What do you answer in an anonymous survey? Not when you're too scared to be in your school or your community or with your coworkers or with your family, but what's really inside you. Parents don't matter for that. Parents matter a lot, and your community matters a lot for, are you willing to admit it? Are you willing to come out? Are you willing to, bring your gay partner home to meet the folks? Their parents and community matter enormously.
Yeah.
Right?
Does nature, and this is awesome, and it's Pride Month too, so I'm glad that we're talking about some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Is being gay an abnormality to nature?
Well, let's put it this way.
And I don't mean negative abnormality.
Yeah.
I just mean, is it something unique to nature? Or is that the right term?
Well, I don't know what unique to nature is. Nature is everything we got. So, but I can tell you this, and you've probably heard this before. We're not the only animals that where there's same-sex sexual behavior, right? You can find in lots of different critters. What is true, though, is that if you look at examples, sheep are a good example, all right? Okay, some male sheep will mount other male sheep, right? Okay, are they really gay? Well, actually, they're bi. So it turns out when you look at critters and you look at same-sex behavior, it's almost never exclusive same-sex
so they're just having a good time.
Behavior.
They're in a frat. Yeah, no offense, dude. And that's just
so that is somewhat different. But in terms of, is there can we divine a larger purpose for gay and bisexual behavior? People have theorized about this. They've theorized about the contribution of the gay aunts or uncles in helping to raise kids, the same way people talk about the grandparent effect, pitching in. Whether that is really a true thing or not, I would say is still very much up in the air.
Interesting. That's a cool answer, man. Bring up the sheep again. That's really interesting. I didn't know this. Homosexual behavior in sheep has been well documented and studied. The domestic sheep is the only species of mammal, except for humans, which exhibits exclusive homosexual behavior.
Well, so that's contradicting what I just said. That's interesting.
A good point. I wonder if this is, but this is also Wikipedia.
But Wikipedia probably is more up to date than me. Sheep may be an exception, but if you look, there's a whole lot of different species that do have homosexual behavior, and for most of them, it's not exclusive homosexual behavior.
Okay. Go back to that again, actually, because I think a lot of what you're saying is in here. 30% of all rams, which are male sheep, demonstrate at least some homosexual behavior. One report on sheep found that 8% of rams exhibited homosexual preferences. That is, even when given a choice, they chose male over female partners. This documented homosexual preference has garnered much discussion. Such rams prefer to court and mount other rams only, even in the presence of estrus ewes. Anyway, it's interesting. I'd never thought about this or even talked about it with somebody, so this is pretty cool.
Well, so I think the important thing here is that this is not just something humans came up with.
Right.
Right? It's not, and if you're trying to explain it as a moral failing, right, as many religions would, well, you would have to say, well, it didn't start with us.
Right.
Pete Buttigieg says, had a real good quote, and I'm paraphrasing him, and he was saying, I've been felt gay as soon as I had any sexual feelings whatsoever. It wasn't a choice.
Yeah.
If your quarrel with me, Mike Pence, is not with me, it's with my creator. I got made gay. I was born that way.
That's a great statement, huh?
Yeah, no, I think it gets to the heart of the matter. Like if you ask a straight man, when did you decide to be straight?
Yeah.
No guy's going, oh yeah, I was thinking about it and I was weighing the pro and cons and I was like, well, all right, you got put you over here. You got to
It was February.
Well, and so yeah, okay, I kind of came down like I'm going to be straight. No, like no guy ever answers that way.
You're right. Oh yeah, I think that's pretty ridiculous, and I think that to me it doesn't feel like that would be a moral thing. I just wonder. I wonder sometimes does nature, because nature, I guess I always look at it as male and female needed to reproduce to keep like existence happening, right? And so then I wonder at some point, does nature need more like gay energy? I just in the you know what I'm saying? I just don't know sometimes like what nature's plan is, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
and I guess it's TBD, some of it.
a lot of it is. Yeah.
Bring it up, PDB. I want to see exactly what he said, man. Start it over, go on.
You may be religious and you may not. But if you are, and you are also queer, and you have come through the other side of a period of wishing that you weren't, then you know that that message, that this idea that there is something wrong with you, is a message that puts you at war not only with yourself, but with your Maker. And speaking only for myself, I can tell you that if me being gay was a choice, it was a choice that was made far, far above my pay grade. And that's the thing I wish the Mike Pences of the world would understand. That if you got a problem with who I am, your problem is not with me. Your quarrel, sir, is with my Creator.
And did Mike Pence directly attack him, or was that some of that could be political kickballing? I don't remember exactly, but either way, I think that's it's an important thing to hear, you know.